After many years of conflict with the old empire of Gis, the Valyrian freehold at last defeated their ancient enemies and conquered their lands approximately 4,700 years before the Targaryen conquest of Westeros. Following their victory in the east, the Dragon Lords of the Valyrian Peninsula looked westward, eventually establishing a military outpost along the southern coast, where the Rhoyne River met the Summer Sea. Strategically located to trade with the Rhoynar in the north and as a port between east and west, merchants soon began to settle in the area and paid the freehold for the right to establish their own independently governed realm. And so Volantis became the first free city, responsible for their own internal affairs, while also paying tribute to the Dragon Lords and living under their protection. The merchants then established a triarchy as their government, wherein all freeborn landowners, both male and female, would vote to elect 3 leaders every year, each of whom must be able to prove they are descended from the blood of old Valyria. In time, 2 main political parties formed to help candidates become elected, with the Tigers largely representing the nobility and military, while the Elephants represented the merchant class. And while many outsiders considered their style of government chaotic and unstable, elections were often peaceful and held in high regard by the people of the city, as demonstrated when the leader Hirono, who held office for 40 years, attempted to bypass the elections by declaring himself a triarch for life. In response, the people captured the man, tied him between 2 elephants, and watched as he was torn apart. With the merchants of Volantis eager to take advantage of trade with the Rhoynar in the north, they encouraged peace and cordial relations with the city-states, which gave them time to grow increasingly wealthy and powerful. Developing their own coinage they called honors, Volantis established an economy heavily dependent on the slave trade, even adopting a custom of marking the status of their property with tattoos. However, Volantis was known for more than just slavery, as they saw ships from the Jade Sea bringing silk and spices through their harbor, and also produced sweetbeets, red wine, and created the game Sivas. Yet in the years before this wealthy, sprawling city was a busy trade port that covered both sides of the Rhoyne, the settlement was originally populated east of the river, where the Dragon Lords built a great 200-foot wall of dragonstone to protect them. Yet as more and more people came into the area, they started to build outside the walls, and then expanded further west of the river. Thus it was that eastern Volantis became known as the home of the old blood aristocracy, who worshipped the ancient gods of Valyria, while the west was home to foreigners, freedmen, sellswords, and criminals, many of whom came to follow the red god R'hllor. In time, western Volantis grew increasingly violent and unstable, leading the Triarch Valoso the Munificent to order the construction of the Long Bridge, which might connect east and west, so they might easily send soldiers to quell civil unrest. With some claiming the Long Bridge was strong enough to support the weight of 1,000 elephants, the massive project took many years to finish, and gained such a reputation that Lomas Longstrider named it as one of the 9 wonders made by man. Yet the years of trade and diplomacy did not last forever, as conflict inevitably erupted with the Rhoynar in the north, as the Valyrian freehold continued their western expansion. For a time, the Rhoynar were able to hold back the Dragon Lords, winning a number of early confrontations, but as the threat against them grew more dire, one of their leaders, Prince Garren the Great, united the city-states to raise a mighty army of 250,000 warriors, accompanied by powerful water wizards. Yet even this mighty host could not withstand Dragonfire, and the Valyrian freehold achieved a final great victory in the Second Spice War around 700 years before conquest. With the Rhoynar vanquished and Western Essos fallen to the freehold, centuries of peace and prosperity followed, until the doom of Valyria destroyed the homeland of the Dragon Lords in 114 BC, leaving all their former holdings across the continent without a central authority. Thus followed the Century of Blood, where the settlements of Essos descended into chaos and war, seeing some attempt to seize power, while others struggled to survive. As the eldest daughter of Valyria, many in Volantis believed they were the rightful heirs to the territories held by the Dragon Lords, and so under the influence of the Tiger Party, the city-state sent out their armies and ships, successfully expanding their holdings to include the cities of Lys, Myr, and much of the disputed lands. Yet their success did not last, as they overextended themselves and suffered a number of failures in their wars of aggression. As part of their campaign of expansion, Volantis sent a fleet to try and claim what remained of the Valyrian Peninsula, only for their ships to vanish in the smoking sea. Then, as they attempted to move further west, attacking the city of Tyrosh, many of the other powers in the region took notice, and an alliance began to form against them. In time, Qohor, Norvos, Tyrosh, Pentos, Bravos, House Durrandon of the Stormlands, and House Targaryen of Dragonstone all fought against Volantis, ultimately destroying their army and fleet, liberating the cities of Myr and Lys. In the north, they faced further losses in the Battle of Dagger Lake against Qohor and Norvos, and even faced raiding from the Dothraki, who took advantage of their weakened state. Yet even in defeat, the war had not been entirely in vain, as Volantis had significantly expanded their borders to include the cities of Volantheris, Valisar, and Selores, and controlled the River Rhoyne as far north as the tributary Soloru. Following their defeat against the other free cities, Volantis largely lost their appetite for battle, with the warlike Tiger Party losing favor to the Elephants, who were elected in 2 of the 3 positions of leadership for the 300 years that followed the Century of Blood. Yet even so, Volantis did engage in further violence from time to time, making another failed attempt to conquer the disputed lands in 96 AC, seeing their final defeat at the Battle of the Borderlands. As a result of this war, the victorious cities of Myr, Lys, and Tyrosh decided to join together and form the Kingdom of the Three Daughters. Volantis again went to war with Myr and Lys during the reign of King Aerys II of Westeros, and were even supplied with weapons and coin by the Targaryen king, who became involved simply to spite his hand Tywin Lannister, who suggested neutrality. Years later, during the conquest of the Dragon Queen Daenerys Targaryen, who was attempting to end the flesh trade in Slaver's Bay, Volantis felt their economy severely threatened and once again went to war, sending their fleet to fight alongside the old aristocracy of Yunkai, Astapor, and Miri. Yet as their ships sailed into the east, they encountered a storm which may have sunk a great number of their ships. Love audiobooks? Then be sure to check out Audible, where they have the world's largest collection available. Simply sign up through the link in the description box below and get 2 free audiobooks to start out. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like the Winter Sorceress, Madam Faith of House Scarisbrick, Warden of the North, and Keeper of the White Cloak, Lucas Glass of Saltspear, Knight of the Iron Shield, Skipalux the Unbroken, and Nantine the Blackburned Ewido. If you'd like to help CivilizationEx, click on the Patreon link, and please be sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and click on the links to see more.